Welcome to another edition of Resource PNG. Much of the mining boom in Papua New Guinea was on the back of alluvial mining. Whilst large-scale mining has taken the limelight through the numerous projects currently operating in the country, alluvial mining is also steadily increasing. We speak with Phillip Samar, Managing Director for Mineral Resources Authority, on what he thinks the future of alluvial mining is in PNG.
Good evening. On the show, we have the Managing Director from the Mineral Resources Authority, Phillip Samar. Thank you so much for your time. Now, we'll be talking about alluvial mining and its significance in Papua New Guinea. Does the government and does MRA view alluvial mining as a significant revenue contributor to the economy of the country?
Thank you for having me on the program. In fact, the alluvial sector, the way I look at it, is a sleeping giant. The sector is accessible by the ordinary Papua New Guineans, and currently they turn around something like in the vicinity of 330 million plus. Yeah. However, the potential there is a billion plus, and that's talking kina. Yeah, and so it is a significant industry and a sector. Given that it is right there where our people are, as opposed to the existing mining operations that are operated mostly by, investors from outside. So, most definitely, very significant to us.
Okay. Is the government, as well as MRA, working on some type of regulation or policies that can make this more efficient for small-scale miners?
We are trying something. Currently, the sector is regulated under the Mining Act 1992. However, the Act itself, the 1992 Mining Act, was really set up for medium-sized to large-scale operations.
Excluding small-scale miners?
Not intentionally.
To a certain extent?
Yeah, yes, but the government is fully aware of that, given the potential in the sector. And so through the Department of Mineral Policy, as you know, the MRA is a regulating entity. Through the Department of Mineral Policy, work is being done to create specific policies to ensure that the small-scale mining sector is given that attention and its particular issues are actually being addressed.
Okay. Having said that, when can we expect an outcome from what you and the government are currently working on in terms of the policy making?
Currently, the Department of Mineral Policy are, as you know, reviewing the existing mining policies and the Mining Act. Some of this is already work being built into the small-scale sector. And so the new Mining Act would recognize the assistance that is required to be available to the small-scale sector. So yeah, there is an already work being done under the current reviews. We are advised that the current reviews are at a very advanced stage for putting to Parliament by June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Having said that, MRA as well as the government are working on reviewing the Mining Act. Can you give us a brief overview of the current mining operations, small-scale mining operations in the country, if you can?
The sector is actually very widespread, right throughout the country, from Bougainville, in the east up to Nuku, somewhere in Wesipik, and records to date indicate that there's an excess of about 100,000 plus people
actively
at work in that sector. Yeah, and along with that are a number of mechanized mining operations. These mechanized mining operations require an alluvial mining lease to operate under. Okay. Our people, the ordinary Papua New Guinean, who wakes up in the morning, walks down to the river, gets a pen and picks up a few nuggets, does not need a license to do that. He can do that. The only time it needs to be, he needs to come into the MRA and apply for a license is when his alluvial activity will impact the environment. Right?
Okay.
So for that, we're interested, and we want him to come in so we can run them through the regulatory process and the responsibility to operate or to hold a small scale or alluvial mining lease. So, yeah, like I said previously, you know, this is, if you look at it from a context of small to medium enterprise, the alluvial sector is the mining sector's SME, and it is a serious SME. It's picking up money in a different form and taking that money directly, right? The challenge that the sector, I guess, and particularly the small alluvial miners face is direct access to transaction. Okay, you're talking people up in the middle of Goilala somewhere, or Minyama, even in remote Bougainville, and they have nuggets, but they need a buyer, and they gotta, you know, cross rivers and mountains and whatever in order to do that. So the government needs to get to a stage where we're able to respond to that. If we're interested in collecting revenue to the state, we should go to the people. The MRA, as you know, has a small-scale mining training center up in Wau. It's been running for the last 4 years. We've seen 4,000 alluvial miners being trained through the center to date. Okay. And so we teach them the basics of the sector. Safety, safe machinery handling, bookkeeping, whatever. Where to recognize where, you know, you can go in there and optimize your return. They're standing at the river 8 hours getting this much because you know what? He's at the wrong place. If only you looked at how the river is flowing and what's where, if you knew that, you'd just turn around 5 meters and you'd be making more for 8 hours. That's what we are bringing out and creating that awareness, providing that learning through our small-scale mining training center.
But the challenge is, as you mentioned, access. That's the main challenge that small-scale miners face, because although they gather as much gold as they can, they can't make the transaction to make it into cash, to transform that gold into cash.
Definitely. See, the buyer, the gold buyer, the guy flies in, goes to him, and then negotiating a rate. But the gold buyer is not buying on the market rate. We all know that. And the alluvial miner doesn't know what the rate is for the morning or for the day or for the week. So where's the win-win here? We are hoping that through, you know, digital, for example, with all the SMS technology and whatever, that would be able to transmit the day's gold price. The guy in the bush is dealing on the gold price and looks at his phone and said, no, according to the MRA message that's coming through, today's rate is this. Yeah, I mean, how easy is that? Too easy. We need to do it. There's a whole lot of talk around this sector. We've started 4 years on now. MRA has been around, what, 8? In terms of 4 here are our initiatives into the sector in order to, you know, spotlight it and bring prominence to it. Yeah. So.
Okay. Can you give a rough estimate on how much the government can earn or can potentially earn from alluvial mining? You mentioned it's a sleeping giant, and the amount must be substantial. But can you put an amount on that?
Yeah, and again, this is not based on any specific studies. Yeah, it is based on historical data that we have. The data that MRA has access to is from the gold exports. So you have gold buyers who are out there who buy the gold. In order for them to sell it, to export it, you need an export license. And so they come to the MRA to verify the quantity, the quality of that, and the weight, yeah, because we derive our levy from that. So that data, and it's not a significant data actually, because how many gold buyers do we have here? Not much, but that data alone gives us an indication of how much is being transacted. Yeah, you're looking what, 450 million? Yeah, but actually there is more, and that is why I say, we are doing something about it in order to fully capture the intelligence in that sector, to be able to use it for government's planning purposes. So we have some level of confidence that no, it's a $1 billion sector or 250 million and growing,
Okay.
So really for the government, between the MRA, IRC, Central Bank, there needs to be a coordinated effort in terms of reporting and sharing information.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Samar, for your time on the show.
No worries.
Good interview.
Hey, always a pleasure. Thanks.
Kula Gold has recorded positive results from its exploration on Woodlark Island in Milne Bay province. Success in its exploration program has been on the back of ore-grade mineralization. Stuart Pether, CEO for Kula Gold, gives us a more in-depth look at the developments on Woodlark Island.
Good evening once again and welcome to another episode of Resource PNG. Tonight on the show we have Stuart Pether, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Kula Gold. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, now Kula Gold has found success in its discovery of 2 million ounces of resource and approximately 800,000 ounces of reserves. What's the next step after you receive project funding?
Yeah, I mean, the fact we've got our mining licence now and our environment permit means that we're very real in the sense of advancing the project through to development. Funding is a key part of that, so we're looking to get a combination of debt and equity, and a significant achievement in the last bit has been getting the state equity decided. So we need to formalise our state equity position with the PNG government. We're really pleased that that's been decided at 5%, and it's great to have a partner in our business, and certainly a significant de-risking step for the company, particularly that equity is shared with the local landowners and the provincial government. So we're very pleased to work with them. We've got a very good relationship with our stakeholders there. Okay. And then we will be moving, once we get project funding, we're moving into construction phase, and the construction phase is about an 18-month program.
So when can we expect that?
Yeah, look, I mean, it is difficult right now with the current gold prices, and it's very pleasing that we've seen some lift in the gold price of recent. But we're working on a number of different aspects of our project to improve the opportunities to get the project started. We're continuing with some exploration on the project right now, low-cost trenching. We've just recently released some quite good results there. And also we're looking at ways in which we can reduce the capital costs, either by considering second-hand plant or getting construction in a way in which we can delay some of the capital, or just improve the economics of the project.
Okay. So far in the project, are you facing any challenges? And if you are, can you explain a bit more about that? Yeah,
look, I mean, Woodlark is a very isolated location. So some of the challenges are the logistics about getting equipment and people to there. But with that comes some really good benefits as well. I mean, we have a very supportive landowner group, very supportive provincial government. And we're pleased to have got the permitting process done. I mean, it has been quite a long process, and sometimes there are some constraints in terms of the human resources within the government. But we've worked in I think a very good partnership, particularly with the people at the MRA and at the DEC. And it's very pleasing to see that a small company like Kula Gold can achieve these significant milestones in PNG without, you don't need to be a Barrick or a Newcrest to be able to get those things done. And PNG is a place where you can get business done if you understand the processes and work hard, which we've been able to do. Okay.
Just in that regard, how important do you view local and community participation?
It's critical in success at Woodlark and at PNG. We have a very good relationship with the Woodlark people, and I think pleasingly we've developed that relationship. We've worked very hard at making ourselves part of the community, engaging with the community. We support the community through health and educational processes. We've also made a very strong commitment to training of local people. So over the 7 or 8 years that we've been doing exploration works there, a number of people are trained up to be drillers, equipment operators, a number of people have the technical skills to operate as surveyors and administrators and that. So we've demonstrated a commitment, and I think that means that people are welcoming of us on at the project.
So in terms of employment, there's a fair ratio of local workers?
Oh, most definitely. When we were in full bankable feasibility study resource drilling mode, we had over 350 local people employed. And you know, some of those people who are skilled, whilst we're not drilling now, have been able to get employment off Woodlark Island. In the operation of the project, there's expected to be about 500 employees, of which, again, about 300 to 350, I believe, will be local people.
Okay.
And then there'll be 150 sort of more skilled jobs, which hopefully we can use national PNG people first, you know, followed by maybe the need for some expats. But
okay.
You know, Kula's in there in our development proposal. We've put a very strong commitment to training and improving the skills of Woodlark people, so that some of these expat jobs can then be taken over by local people.
Mr. Pether, can you specify the lifespan of the project as well as the production in gold that you can expect per annum?
Yeah, the current reserves are 766,000 ounces, and we expect to be producing about 100 to 115,000 ounces a year over the first 6 years of the project, followed by a lower production over the final 3 years. So a total of 9 years of production,
okay.
with a very strong opportunity to increase the resources and reserves. Our exploration potential is still by no means complete. We're
so it's
focusing
still ongoing?
Very much ongoing, and we're focusing on continuing to advance some of our exploration targets right now, and I'm very confident that we'll have that exploration success, and that you know, the project will have a longer life than the planned 9 years now.
Okay, so with the production details that you've explained, how much in monetary value are you expecting to make?
Wow, yeah, that's I mean, it's always a function of the gold price. You know, at our current all-in sustaining costs, which are the costs of production and sustaining capital once the project's built, is about $868 an ounce. So, you know, there's really good operating margins there, which means that, you know, we're able to pay back our capital. You know, and you know, that means that a lot of taxes and benefits flow to the PNG people and the PNG government. I believe in the bankable feasibility study, it estimates that something in the order of about $67 million worth of taxation will be paid,
okay.
and over $32 million worth of royalties will be paid to the people. So, you know, it has a lot of benefits other than just the profits that the company makes. There's employment, business opportunities, and you know, Kula takes, and Woodlark Mining Limited take their responsibilities about ensuring that employment and benefits do flow to the full community very seriously.
Okay, just a final question to wrap things up. You mentioned that community development and community engagement is a pivotal part of the way that you operate. Are there any closing remarks that you'd like to tell the people of Woodlark? Yeah,
look, we're very grateful for the support, very grateful for being welcomed in the island and being part of the community there. So, and hopefully we can get a bit more gold price and we can continue to keep our exploration programs going, but we can start to prepare for the construction of our project.
Thank you, Mr. Pether, for your time on Resource PNG.
Cheers, thank you.
Watching Resource PNG. Now on to some news from the resource sector. The past week has been busy with a lot of industry players making the headlines. Interoil has announced its financial results for the fourth quarter and full year ending December 31, 2014. In a statement released this week, the oil and gas exploration company announced a healthy performance, with the company recording a full year profit of $290 million, just over 720 million kina. The company says it is well placed for development of the Elk Antelope gas field in Papua New Guinea, which could potentially be the lowest cost new build LNG project in the world. Interoil Chief Executive Dr. Michael Hession says 2014 has enabled the company to focus on developing Elk Antelope and on maintaining its exploration effort in the eastern Papuan Basin, one of the world's most exciting emerging hydrocarbon provinces. Now moving on the fringes of the Australia PNG Business Council meeting recently in Sydney, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill announced Peter Graham as the incoming Chief Executive Officer for Octedi Mining Limited. This follows Nigel Parker's departure from the top position of this mine. However, OTML is yet to officially comment on Mr. Graham's appointments. Resource PNG will be watching with interest developments there. South Africa's Harmony Gold said it has discovered gold and copper deposits at its Kili Teke exploration site in Papua New Guinea, which could be similar to its other resources in the Pacific Island nation. In an update on mineweb.com, Harmony says there is potential to develop its latest find into a major copper-gold deposit similar to its flagship Wafi Golpu project and the Octedi or Frida River facilities. The Wafi Golpu project, a joint venture with Newcrest Mining Limited, holds 20 million ounces of gold and 9 million tons of copper. Failure to bring in a credible partner has caused state-owned company Petromin Holdings to consider closing down the Tolokuma gold mine. According to recent media reports, Petromin chairman Sir Brownby is reported to have cited the mine's operating costs and low gold prices as reasons for halting production, and that management had been advised to consult with regulators and stakeholders before a final decision is made. Petromin has been losing money funding Tolokuma for the last 4 years, and with falling gold prices, Petromin can no longer sustain Tolokuma, he said. Other companies within the industry have been affected by the price cycle and have made some tough decisions to cut back on their operational expenditure. Sir Brownby says the board is aware of regulatory issues that Petromin has to comply with, and as a Papua New Guinean company owned by the state, they wish to be responsible in terms of meeting compliance requirements. In PNG's Goilala district in Central Province, Tolokuma is a low-capacity, high-grade gold mine employing 630 people. Moving on, Deloitte Touche Tohmatsu has released its first economic briefing for Papua New Guinea. The briefing covers a range of topics including banking, mining, transport and real estate. Insofar as mining, Deloitte has reported expressions of interest from large international players reportedly rolling in for the potential auction of Barrick Gold's 95% stake in the Pugera gold mine and the Cowal mine in Australia. Indicative bids are due in April, with a number of potential bidders reportedly preferring the assets to be split up, although Barrick is believed to favour selling the two mines together. According to the Australian Financial Review, Australian companies Northern Star Resources and Independence Group appear the most likely contenders. However, sources say they could face competition from Chinese state-owned giant Zijin, listed in Hong Kong with a market capitalization of 13.3 billion Australian dollars. And finally, moving on to something a little different, Oil Search Limited has announced their engagement to the Games Relay through the 5 million kina support as the official naming sponsor for the Pacific Games Relay in the lead-up to the 2015 Pacific Games. The Games Relay will provide an opportunity to celebrate Papua New Guinea's culture through sports. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Resource PNG. If you want to know more about how you can contribute to this program, please email us on resourcepng@emtv.com.pg or log on to www.mtv.com.pg, where you will find a link to the Resource PNG page. Until the next time, pleasant viewing.